All right, so this should be fun. We're gonna pick apart NASA a little bit, and let's look at reality versus a staged nonsense, Disneyland ride to dazzle your mind and dazzle your eyes and give you the illusion of people flying into outer space. So we're gonna compare actual G-forces placed upon human beings in a centrifuge on actual airplanes, and then we're going to show you footage of actual rocket launches on the Soyuz rocket, the same rocket that allegedly takes people up for many years now. I think it's at least 20 years, up to the old tin can in the sky, the ISS, which is traveling at 17,000 miles an hour. So what you're going to see is some videos of a few different people, and you're going to see the actual G-forces. Watch their faces. They use this maneuver called the hook maneuver because they have to squeeze their muscles so hard and breathe and make the name or like the sound hook to grit your teeth to force the blood up into your brain. Otherwise, you pass out. And you'll see in some of these videos, people do in fact pass out all the time. And keep in mind, a lot of these astronauts that are going up there to the ISS, they're old, they're skinny, they're not in shape, and these people doing these actual G-forces are typically athletes. They do weight training, they're physically fit, and you got this old lady supposedly going up in that dick-shaped rocket not that long ago with William Shatner. She's like 80 years old. With probably, I think it's 4 or 5 Gs. It's complete nonsense. She's just sitting there twiddling her thumb, and it's all show. It's all make believe. So let's jump into this.
A lot of negative people like the positive. That's all good. Nice work. All right, here comes some G. Get after it. Here we go.
This is the Royal Air Force Training Centrifuge at Farnborough, and the team here are going to push me as far as they are allowed to push a civilian.
The centrifuge, what it does is recreate the forces that you feel in an aircraft. For our routine pilot training, the first time pilots go on the centrifuge, we expect them to get up to 5G.
We increase the G that Tom is exposed to. The blood's going to be pushed down into his feet, and he's going to have to work really hard to push that blood back up to feed oxygen to his brain to keep him conscious. And in real life, we would be expecting that person to be flying an aircraft whilst doing that.
I'm getting a little bit of grey out. I can't quite see.
We teach the anti-G straining maneuver, which composes of 2 separate parts. First of all, muscle tensing, so both the buttocks and the legs, squeezing the blood vessels to try and get the blood back up into the chest and the head. But also the second part is a breathing maneuver, which increases the strain in the chest, directly increasing the blood pressure to the great vessels in the chest and keeping him conscious. And when you lose blood pressure to your head, you could even lose consciousness, and we term that G-induced loss of consciousness, or G-lock.
Blimey, I lost everything there. Wow.
G-lock.
G will effectively increase the weight of the body, so that at 5G you feel 5 times heavier. G can be fatal, and in simple terms you can stop the blood flow to the brain, and that can kill you.
This chap is now at 5G in the machine, and after just 6 seconds, his brain is so starved of blood, he goes unconscious.
That's easy. That's not so easy.
He's not quite sure what to expect, and I think it's probably coming as a bit of a surprise to him.
God, it's like having an elephant sitting on my chest.
The blood is actually draining away from his brain at this point. All the organs in his body as well are feeling heavy, including the heart, so that tends to descend about an inch or so and change his shape into some pear shape.
I'm going to try and lift my arm up now.
His body weight at the moment is heading towards about 1/3 of a ton. You can see quite clearly the effect of the increased G is dragging the soft tissues of his face down, so that it's actually getting a very saggy, rather sort of elderly appearance. I'm not at all convinced he's enjoying himself here.
I would not be able to fly an aeroplane feeling like that.
Okay, you can see all of these individuals that were flying, they had extreme forces on their body. If a person is 200 pounds, 3 Gs is 600 pounds. 4 Gs is 800 pounds forcing on your body. You heard the instructor saying that your organs get pushed back and get, smushed into your body. The blood doesn't make it to your brain. The last individual, he said it was 1/3 of a pound. If he's 200 pounds, that's 3 Gs. A lot of the other guys, if you were watching the indicators, you might want to back it up. It was between 3.5 and 5 Gs. And I've shown you that the Soyuz rocket is between 4 and 4.5 Gs. So it's right in there. I think that the Blue Angels may push a little bit harder Gs. They say between 3 and 6, maybe 7 for a split moment. But you can see this is an extreme amount of force. And now let's go in and I'll show you the astronauts who are just chilling, waving their arms around. And let's see what type of forces are exerted on them. And let's look at the difference. One last thing I'm going to bring up is we need to consider the actual speed they're traveling. The Soyuz rocket takes off 0 to 17,000 miles an hour in 8 minutes. That is unbelievable. What you're seeing here is a hypersonic sled. This thing is traveling at 6,500 miles an hour. So the Soyuz rocket in 8 minutes gets up to 3 times faster than this. Look at this thing. It is going so fast you can't even see it. It's unfathomable how ridiculous it is. There is no way that these people can be sitting inside there and just chilling and sitting inside a capsule. And when you watch the video, think about that sled and think about that thing going by 3 times faster than what you already can't see, and imagine 3 people sitting in a little rocket.
Just not yet the liftoff because we first need to raise power. Liftoff.
just spectacular. The launch of Soyuz MS-9 and the beginning of Alexander Gerst's Horizons mission to the International Space Station, broadening horizons in science and space exploration. On board the Soyuz, alongside Alexander, spacecraft commander Sergei Prokopyev and NASA astronaut Serena Anand-Chancellor.
So look at these guys. They're doing arm pumps. They're smiling. They're just relaxing. Watch the, I don't know if this guy's the pilot in the middle. He's got this like weird extending antenna, and he's poking around and pushing these little remedial buttons, and the other guy is pushing buttons every once in a while. Are these guys supposed to be flying the rocket? Like he's got this little extending poker, and what if he pushes the wrong button? Do they go the wrong way? You know, it's just so ridiculous. They have these hanging little stuffed animals to dazzle your eyes a little bit, and they're in this cockpit with this ridiculous, strapped in bags or whatever over their heads. And, so you listen to the guy. There's an American, a Russian, and a German, because, of course, got to make sure you have, camaraderie between all the different space agencies, because it's the place we all get together, like the Olympics or something like that, where we all, the better good for mankind and all this. It's just a complete hoax. Look at it. Look, there's absolutely no strain, no forces upon these people. Another big issue is that the Soyuz rocket is over 180 decibels, which literally will blow your eardrums out. At 200 decibels, it will kill you. That's why people have to stand 3 miles away in these rocket launches, because the vibrations will literally kill you, because it'll tear your body apart and shake your organs loose.
Now we're reaching the peak G-load during the launch phase.
So these are now live pictures we are seeing from space, from outside the spacecraft. As we're rising towards orbit, you heard everything normal. So this is first for one of these crew launches to the space station we're going to see outside the spacecraft. So we're absolutely in space now.
Yeah, we have already reached an altitude of 142 kilometers. The rocket is currently flying at roughly 3.5 kilometers per second. And the distance from the launch site is already more than 400 kilometers.
Okay, so this is hilarious. So again, these guys are just chilling, relaxing. The announcer just said it's traveling at 3.5 kilometers per second. It's pretty fast. What that means, if you translate to miles per hour, that's 7,800 miles per hour. 7,829 miles per hour. They're traveling right now. That hypersonic sled I showed you earlier was 6,500 miles an hour. So it's going faster than that by 1,000 miles an hour. And these guys are just chilling. This guy's got his little poker. He's pushing buttons. They're still speeding up. They're under at least 4.5 Gs. And they are just smoking along, but they're falling asleep. Look at their guy. They're closing their eyes. They're falling asleep because they're just chilling.
And still gaining speed, Matthias.
Absolutely. I mean, we need a certain speed to remain in orbit. If the engines would cut off now, we wouldn't have the crew remaining in space, but they would return to Earth.
So just to put that in perspective, you can imagine such a speed, 27,000 kilometers per hour is what we need to reach in 8 minutes, 45 seconds.
All right, there it is again. The announcer just said they need to reach 27,000 kilometers per hour, which translates to 17,000 miles per hour, within 8 minutes 45 seconds to get up to the speed of the ISS and magically make that rocket hit the ISS. And just imagine if they were off just the smallest bit of trajectory, traveling at that speed. Again, think of that supersonic sled going 3 times faster than that. If they are just the slightest bit with their little their little rocket to shoot in different ways, they would miss the ISS by 1,000 miles. Think about it. It's time to think about the reality. Look at it. Look at the reality. Look at these people. They are not flying at 17,000 miles an hour. Nowhere near it. And the last thing I'm going to point out is when they show the outside, they'll show the Earth. They always show the curvature and they always show a bit of a body of the rocket every time. Look at the ISS. Look at every time there's a launch. You'll see like a little satellite dish or the end of the rocket or whatever, so you can, have the idea that you're actually looking at something really in up high in the air. And then they'll always show the curvature, which is always different. Sometimes it's a little curve, sometimes it's a massive curve. It doesn't matter the elevation, but the curvature is never accurate as what reality would really be if you were looking at a sphere of the said circumference. It's always different. But it's always there. The rocket never spins, never gets out of focus. It's always in the background, so it dazzles your eyes, and you look at it. It's there the whole time. That perfect curve, just to reinforce, hey, the Earth is curving down there. I see that. Here's another American astronaut taking off on the Soyuz on a completely different mission. This is Mr. Tim Peake. All these guys are liars. All these guys are actors. It's a whole staged nonsense hoax every time. There's nobody in these rockets. These rockets go up in the air. They make an arc. You can see it arc. They go out over the ocean and they fall back in the ocean. There's no human beings in them, and it's just a giant, massive spectacle to dazzle you and to make you believe that people are really going up into outer space to control you and to manipulate you. There's so much more of a depth to it, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to wrap this up, and I wanted to show you all this because it's hilarious. It's so obvious to see these people are not under any strain whatsoever, and they're not feeling real G-forces. I'm going to show you one last clip here of some real G-forces. I appreciate you watching. I love the Blue Angels, by the way. I watch these guys live, and they are amazing. So, real air flight, real pilots, amazing. Astronauts, fake. Enjoy your day. I love you.
All right, here we go. Bob's gonna say ready, break, and then a lot of negative G-fall like the positive G coming.